So guys, this is my first time or first attempt at making a video like this, and I do watch a lot of YouTube videos for wood turning, all kinds of different resin, wood and resin is what I like to do mostly, but right now I'm working on just a wooden bowl. So I thought I would talk about what I'm doing. I'm a segment wood turner mainly. I mainly do segment wood turning. As you can see here on the lathe right now, I have this here getting ready to turn. It's a segment bowl. It's a small segment bowl. Behind me, I'm preparing to do a brick bowl. This is a brick bowl with walnut and maple that I just finished, and I'm getting ready to do it. This next one is going to be maple. The main brick is maple and walnut for the other part. So um, I'm going to kind of key in for that as I go. Right now, as you can see, got this all glued up. I think it's about ready to come off. I'm going to pull these clips off, and here's what we have. First I glue them on. This is a 1/2 inch with about an 1/8 inch, maybe a little less than 1/8 inch um, walnut attached to it. Then I found it's easier to do it this way, and then I'm going to cut in between pieces, the vertical pieces. I'm going to cut them and install them as I create the rings, the segment rings, and we'll get to that. You'll see that. So see how it goes. Before I get going, I will let you know that I've made 4 of these videos, and I keep forgetting to turn on my mic. But anyway, that's me. If you watch any of my videos now, from here on out, you'll notice that I'm very absent-minded professor kind of thing. Okay, so now I want to show you how I go about making the segments. Of course, we have 36 per ring. In this particular one, I'm making 36 per ring, but you could have 36, 12, 18, 24. You could have 96 for that matter. I think it goes to 96. Anyway, point is, we got to cut them. All right. And so what we do is I've had a couple of jigs, and the one I use now works really, really well. My last jig I used was off a little bit, and my rings were not coming out very tight, and it makes for a sloppy bowl. So you got to have tight rings. Some people make rings where they will make half the ring and then put it on the table saw and cut it, and make the other half and cut. And I tried that, but I didn't find the rings were coming out symmetrical. They were coming out, kind of football shape in a way. So anyway, the jig I have now that I made works really well, and I found it on YouTube. Of course, I find everything on YouTube or Pinterest, and it works really well. And I'll show it to you real quick here. This is the jig. Of course, it slides. It's very adjustable. But it works really well. And also what I learned with the old jig, it was loose. This one's tight. It's very tight. What I learned about making these. Okay, on with the show. Let me move this over here, and I'm going to show you, as you can tell, this high price video I got going on here using my iPhone. Hey, it gets the job done, right? And it gets the job done. So what I got to do is, it's going to get noisy here in a minute because I'm going to turn on the vac system and then turn also the saw. Some of you are wondering why in the world you're using a table saw. Well, it's a good question. Because it's hot in Florida, and that's where I'm at, and I have my table saws outside. I don't have room inside, and so I figured that if it works on a table saw, it can work on a bandsaw. And I got a very nice bandsaw, and it does a very good job of what I'm doing. So don't let anyone tell you it won't work. It does work. All right. What I did learn is I used to take these pieces and I would cut and then flip, and logically that would make 5 degrees on each side. But that was also the culprit too for my rings not coming out perfect. I stopped doing that. So instead was what I'm doing is as I cut this side and then I cut up here, okay? And then back and forth this way. This, why, I don't know, but this is making perfect rings for me, okay? So without having to do any extra cuttings and things. All right, here we go. Now I'm not going to bore you with doing all 36 of these. Keep in mind I'm making 9 rings, so that would be a long video of cutting these out. But I just want to give you a general idea of what's going on over here. The next step will be putting the rings together, and that's where I'll pick up. I'll pick up when I'm starting to do that. Thank you. All right, one more thing I wanted to share with you before we go on to the rings is sanding. Everyone knows how to sand, right? One thing I learned is don't take off too much. You've got that angle just right from the saw. If you get to trying to remove all the grooves, not good. You just want to clean it up, okay? Clean it up so that when you go to glue it up, just that easy, just very little amount. Really ain't got to worry about the ends. It's just these inside areas is all you're doing, okay? Alrighty, guys. What I'd like to do next is show you the next sequence of events. You know, people look at these segmented bowls, and when you just look at them, they look very challenging, very complicated, but they really aren't. Just kind of, they just time consuming. It takes a long time. Some bowls can take up to 30, 40 hours. Some basic ones can only take 8 hours. So um, the one I'm doing now, which has the inserted piece in it. Let me show you this ring I put together. It has an inserted each little piece in, which that doubles all the pieces. So it's like 700 and some pieces to this bowl. That's time consuming. It takes time to do all this. So I'll go ahead and show you a ring, or at least some of a ring that I'm working on. Let me adjust this camera to bring you in on that. You can see over here, I've aligned all this wood to be so I can just grab it, glue and grab and glue and grab some little pieces here to go with it. Maybe I need to get this a little closer. You can tell I'm a professional with all this video stuff. Anyway, all right, so let me get started. Check my glue. Oh, it's not looking good. So give me a minute. Add some glue to this. All right, we got some fresh glue in there. All right, so pretty much all I do is just start. Now, when I don't have that piece, all I have to do is just glue. You can. All right, now you can see it. You can hear me, and so I just glue each little piece, dab with my finger. But like I was getting ready to say, when I don't have this little piece inside at all, it's quick. This does slow me down quite a bit, but you still want to up the pace because at the end of this ring, you have to adjust everything. And it's still got to be movable. You still got to be flexible a little bit. You don't want it drying too fast. So I got to go quick. Pretty much that's all this is. Now, if you're really seriously interested in woodworking, you know, you can start out with some secondhand tools, but make sure the tools are good tools. Don't just be buying. I mean, you could get like a lathe from Harbor Freight. They work okay. until you can afford a better one. Anyway, that's how I started. It was with a Harbor Freight lathe, but you're going to want a good saw. If it's a table saw, it doesn't have to be a $2,000 table saw, but you want one that is cut and set up really well so that it cuts the way you want it to, so you can make what you're making. Now, I don't, like I said earlier, don't use a table saw. I use a bandsaw. Um, and I prefer that, and I have a very nice bandsaw. I think I'm very lucky to have that. Um, Before this bandsaw, I had a cheaper one, and it was limited on size, what size I could do. With this, with a more professional bandsaw, you can cut up to 14 inches, and with the power, it really cuts up to 14 inches. It isn't like one of the small bandsaws that say it can cut 8 inches, but it really can't cut 8 inches. It bogs down too much because it just doesn't have the power. So that's what you're looking for, is power. Um, so anyway, this just takes time. I kind of started in a bad spot, but we'll get caught up here. Um, I don't know about YouTube so far. I really enjoy YouTube. This is my first attempt to make a video for YouTube. We'll see how this goes, but maybe you can give me feedback. Tell me if I should continue after listening to me and watching what I'm doing. Tell me if this is something I should continue doing or not. Um, but you know, I find that there's lots of political stuff on YouTube right now. I mean, politics is going crazy, um, and it's just so unfair. All of it's just unfair. Nobody respecting each other anymore. It's just all going after each other. But anyway, um, I'm lucky to be retired. I was in the Navy for 21 years. I don't know if I even told you this already, but and then I got out and um, got my degree in uh, psychology, and then I went to school to got my master's in counseling, and then I went to and worked for the VA, and then I worked for them for 15 years, and then I retired from them. So, I'm very blessed, very lucky to have all the opportunities. Now, at the risk of upsetting some people, I wouldn't call it white privilege. I worked very hard at what I have. It was never given to me. I pay student loans. I worked hard to get the jobs I got. I got interviewed and I failed at interviews and I got hired at interviews. I mean, that's just life. And so I wouldn't say no specific privilege. And some might argue with that. I don't even understand that concept, to tell you the truth. Um, Anyone who makes it in this world works hard to make it. Um, so watch a lot of wood turning videos. Oh my goodness. It's actually how I've learned how to do this, is by watching others do it. So I hope I'm not boring you. It's hard for me just to sit here and say nothing when I know the video's gone. Well, sometimes I sit here watching TV and I'm talking. Well, it's a little crazy that way, I guess. Get this wrapped up. Now I might stop here Well, I probably ought to go all the way around because then you can see how I finish it up. Because that's part of this whole thing. It's pretty tricky. Just keep going around. And each piece I put down, I want to make sure it's kind of really stuck together. I mean, close together when I do it. I don't want it moving. I want it to end up being in the right place at the, when I get around. Because, it's hard enough with 36 pieces. Now you doubled it to 72. You got 72 times 9, however, whatever that equals out to. That's a lot. Oops, I got ahead of myself. There we go. It kind of like it's mechanical in a way, but I'm a human, so I make mistakes. I've actually turned. I make as many mistakes as I am successes with wood turning. Not so much anymore, but at first it was like trial and error for the most part. I do something stupid, put something on the lathe, and I didn't put it on correctly, or I didn't have a big enough tenon that attaches to the chuck, and before you know it, I got a piece flying all over the place. So I actually look at the picture as I go to make sure I'm doing it right. I don't know how else to do it. Now I can't remember the name of the program I'm using. I can get it for you if I continue making videos. I'll get it for you. But the program I use to design each type of bowls I use, and it has a lot of presets, so I don't have to worry about that so much. So it works really well. I know it seems tedious, and what it is. Typically, I'm listening to music or something, or have the TV in the background, and that really does help. Right now, this recording, this is kind of odd to me. I've never done this before, so as you know, this is my first time. We'll see how this all turns out. But you got to keep it moving because you got to finish up and be able to actually adjust things at the end after the rubber band gets on. That's the part I want you to see next. Now this jig here I made works really well. I can't remember where I've seen this jig, and obviously on YouTube or whatever, but it works really well for many things. I could first try to make it so I would build the bowl stacking the rings up and pressing it down, but I learned the hard way that that's hard to get everything in line. I now, as I will show you with this, I install everything on the lathe, and I glue everything up on the lathe, and the lathe has a centering point, so that makes sure each ring's in line. So when I'm done, it's fairly true when it turns. That's actually one of the big problems with segmented building is you go to all this trouble to make the rings and everything, and then you get to the end and everything's not lined up, and now if it's too far off, it's not going to work. The bowl's not going to come together, and I've had them fall apart that way. Like I said, learn the hard way. But you know, this is something I know my dad would probably really enjoy if he was still with us. He loved using his hands and building with his hands. Well, I guess that's where I got it in a way. There we go. Now I'm off a little bit here, but let me get this glued up, both sides. So this part's actually pretty stiff from the glue already, so I have to kind of make my adjustments from over there, from the side that I recently did, which makes sense, right? All right. Wipe my hands off real quick. Now, what I do is I take a ring. I have different size rings. It's a 12-inch ring. This is what I need for these particular ones. I put this here because if you try to put that rubber band on without holding it, which I've tried many times, it can just become 72 pickup real quick. We got parts all over the shop. Now, I used to get mad at that, and then it got to where it's hilarious, so I just laughed because it's like, nah, what the hell? This is the way it is, you know? Then I decided to try doing something different, and that's when I built this. And all this does is hold it on, just so I can get the rubber band on, right? There you go. Then I don't have to worry about it. Then I kind of go around and see where I need to maybe make some adjustments if I can. Yeah, see, adjust there. Lots of adjustments, unfortunately. We'll get them. We'll get them. This is why I had to kind of hurry and get it all done before that right there needs hammered. All right. There's a ring. All right. So the next step is I'll come back when I get to the next step, and that is I'll run these through the drum sander, and that's another luxury tool to have because I used to try to flatten them out by having the lathe and putting a flat board with sandpaper on it and hold the ring to it. That's kind of comical to see. It doesn't work real well, but so that actually inspired me to dig out some money from savings and go buy a drum sander. So it's well worth it if you can afford it. If you're going to be serious about doing this stuff, you need it. I think that's the key, getting serious at this stuff. I mean, if you're going to be serious at it, you want to invest in it. I don't do it to make money. I don't sell this stuff. A lot of people do, or at least I haven't yet. I guess I could. I got probably 40, 50 bowls still in there. I give them away mostly. But I'm told that I should sell them. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, I'll get back to the next step. Well, guys, I got kind of carried away and just started working and just forgot I needed to start recording again. As you can see, I started building the bowl on the lathe. So, and then I'll show you in a minute what else I did is to try to catch up. All right, so as you can see, the rings have been stacked on, and I'm using this. I use this to attach it so it's everything's centerized. So when it turns, it's pretty true when it turns, right? From the get-go. So that makes it much easier. Like I was saying before, if you try to stack these rings any other way, you run the risk of it not being true and then not turning correctly. All right. So since I did get ahead of myself, I'm going to show you what else I did. As you can see inside the bowl, I've already cut it out. What is, you go a few rings. In this case, I went 6 rings. I got 4 more rings to put on. I went ahead and cut out the inside. That way, if the bowl's way out here, it's a challenge to get down into the bottom. So this is much easier to do it this way. So go ahead and cut it. Now I can keep gluing. I'll cut the outside after it's done, and hopefully I'll remember to record that part so you can see it. Okay. As you can see, cutting these things, this is the funnest part. Of course, that's what we want to do, is wood turning. And when you're doing segmented wood turning like this, you do all the work is before you even get to this point, is building everything up. All right, so I'm gonna set this back over here. Close your eyes if it makes you dizzy. All right, and you'll be able to see what I do. All right, this ring will go on next, and see will it fit on there. Yeah, I think it might fit. See, I only use 4. If you notice, I'm only using 4 right now of the pins. That's really all you need for this portion to get being able to glue all this up. And I just lightly snug it on there. I don't need to be real tight as well. Maybe I do. Might have to tighten it up so it bends it a little bit to get it a little more round, so it bumps everybody. See what I'm saying? I'm kind of bending it. That makes it more round. And another thing I've learned on my own to do. All right, and then the next thing I'll do is I'll put down some paper towels, because I don't want to get glue all over the bed of the lathe. All right, then you start gluing. Very simple. I'll glue both sides. I always use these silicone brushes, because what happens is you could just peel the stuff right out and just keep using it. It doesn't stick. Glue doesn't stick to these. So, you just keep using them and using them. Just kind of pull the old stuff off. You probably, if you're a wood turner, you already know these things, but I'm saying this for the new beginner. Of course, if you're a seasoned wood turner, you're probably already bored with what I've done, because you probably already know what I've done. You can kind of tell what I'm going to do next. And hopefully I'm telling a story so also everyone can kind of tell what's next. It's pretty simple. And I keep saying that, but only because I think a lot of people think when they look at a segmented bowl, they think it's just so challenging to do. It's really not that hard. This kind particularly is more work than it is hard. Now, the other bowl that I had on, that I did another video on, is of a pattern, more of a pattern style bowl. You got to be kind of a little more careful putting it together to make sure you get the pattern the way you want it. All right, let me get, and I'll go over here and I'll do this. I'll do both sides because I want to make sure you get plenty of glue and just let it leak out. And then the worst thing is getting this far in your project and having areas of the bowl that are not glued. Keep in mind, I'm using Type Bond 3. Type Bond 3 glue is waterproof. So if you use just regular kind of wood glue, it's not going to stay woodproof. Good chance your project or your bowl is going to fall apart a year or two down the road. Every time you wash it or whatever, it's just going to wear it out. That's not going to happen with this glue. And if you look around, most wood turners are using Titebond wood glue. Usually 2 or 3. I use some regular too. I won't call it one. It's just called regular. Occasionally as well, because it's a little cheaper. So if I can get away with it, I'll use it. Mainly just to do other kind of work. All right. Pretty simple. Just push it up. Lock it down. Line up my, the one in between everything, right? Obviously. All right, that looks pretty good. Yeah, I think we got it. Right, that's all that part is. Now I could show you all of the glue ups, but I don't think you're going to want to see all the glue ups. We'll just show you, kind of basically how it's done. I got way ahead, and I'm sorry. I meant to do it all, because if you see right here, I added a piece that goes into the chuck, and then I glue it onto, this is part of the bottom of the bowl is maple, because I wanted to match the main maple in the bowl. And later on it'll all come together. So, all right, till next time. All right, now it's time to start turning in. Turn part of the bowl, turn the inside here first, and then we'll turn the outside. Oftentimes I do it the other way, but I'm finding turning the inside first helps me better gauge what's going on. So we'll do a little bit for you. I'm not going to bore you with all the turning, but and hopefully where I've got the camera set up, I got to move it a little bit, but there we go. That might do it. All right, so let's do this. Running about 800 RPM. Just taking little bites. You don't want to take big bites. Not at this point, not way out here. I probably, hopefully I don't regret it, but I probably should turn the outside first. And then I can put a rest on out here to hold the bowl. But that's not what I'm doing. So I'm going to try it this way instead. A little bit more to go. Catch up with the inside. What you're hearing is that the pieces that glued on the vertical part, or actually it would be horizontal when the bowl's upright. In between each one this way, you're hearing that chatter. That's all it is. It's these blades here, right? Chipping off like this. So that's about all it is. I know it's an annoying sound though. A little bit more. I got to cut this down quite a bit to get to that last one, but then we'll go on the inside and kind of swoop it up. Maybe that's what I should start heading that direction. Now, every wood turning is pretty unique. You have to approach it based on what's presented you, right? What's presented, and you just got to just kind of go with it, with the way it wants to be cut, and the outcomes aren't always what was initially planned. So we do our best. We're going to keep cutting a little more. Didn't lock my tool rest down. See, there you go. Learning as I go. Let me see where I'm at. It's amazing how much shavings you get off wood. It's, it's very condensed, and then you get to where you're. All right, we're doing good. I'm gonna kind of come over here first and do a little more here. All righty. I like to stop every now and then, kind of see where I am and approach it the way it needs to be approached. I tell you, I have come to this point in the turning and did the wrong thing, and before you know it, tore it up. So I'm going to cut this and then kind of get it to scoop some. Here we go. A little more this way. Yeah, after this I'll sharpen this. I know, famous last words. You know, I'm gonna sharpen now. I'll be right back. I don't know if I told you all, this is a Thompson wood turning uh, tool, which is a 1/2 inch. I really enjoy this thing. I have had this for a year, and you can see I got a long way to go before it's done. It started out about an inch from here. So these tools are very hard. They stay sharp a long time. So y'all look into them. Not that I have any. They don't have any interest in me. They've never seen. This is my first wood turning, so they don't even know I'm talking about them. But it's something to look into. Look into good tools. I mean, I know they're expensive, but if you're going to do this, you're going to need good tools. Well, that's the difference right there. Let me check something. That was a pretty good bite. I got to check and see what my thickness is here. I can't always go by eye or taking your fingers and feeling. You gotta check and see where you're at. So I'm getting to the point where if I take too much, I'll ruin this bowl. So we're at a 1/2 inch there, 1/2 inch there. Yeah, I got room. I got room. Limited there. Can't take much more off right here. That's going to be kind of weird. Well, I didn't glue up the way I'd liked it to, but it is what it is. I got to try to make it work. I don't know if it's going to make it or not. Whoops. We'll see. All right, let me try this. pretty decent. That might have just fixed everything. It's getting thin. I will say it's getting thin. So every cut I got to be kind of careful because I want to leave enough for outside. Yeah. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. It's gonna work. All right, not bad. All right, let me do another one from the full outside, one full pass. That might be it. Yeah, I was going to make a full pass, but I couldn't see anymore. All right, this video is going to run kind of long if I keep recording all this, but I don't want to. I want to. For anyone who really wants an opportunity to see what's going on, see, I have one spot. I can see if you can see it here. Still got. I got to take a little more off, and I got to be real careful how I do it. Real careful. So here we go. Okay. Now, I could just use a negative rate scraper and try to lightly do the finishing. And I think that's what I'll do. Because I think that's going to help me more than anything. That tore out right there, didn't it? Nope, gotta cut that. There was some chipping out there because when you go too thin sometimes it could chip out, and I gotta really watch a negative rate scraper. It can also cause some chipping. All right, that's better. Let's do a little negative raking. That's my negative rake scraper from D-Way Tools. I really like this. I gotta sharpen it though. Hang on, give me a minute. Really what that does is it it puts a fresh burr on the end, and that's what really cuts, is on the very end is a burr. So it gives it a fresh burr. All right, let's see what we got here. Well, that's really 3. Well, I'm going to change this tool to a different tool rest. Since my tool rest, this part of my bottom base of the tool rest doesn't slide under here because the bowl's so big, I use this long one and I can go all the way around the bowl with it. The only thing I don't like about this one is, let's see, there we go, is you get too far out and you lose your what do I want to call it? What's the word for it? I'm not able to have a good steady foundation. It starts vibrating a little bit out on the end, right? So, but give and take. So let me move the camera. I'm going to stop here and restart. Okay, repositioning has been done. Now we can cut this. Shouldn't take too long. So hopefully you'll stay with us for the entire thing, but understand if you can't, because it can be kind of boring. Although to me, this is the most exciting part of the whole job, is turning. So here we go. I'm left-handed, but so I turn it a different way than maybe others do, but it does throw the shavings away from me. See what I mean? Okay, we got a balance. I'm going to do a little bit of a... You always want to start on the outside, because as it thins, you want more meat on the inside. If you do the inside first and then come out here and you get a catch or something, it's just going to bust your piece all to hell. So excuse my language. But that's kind of what it does. It tears it up. So I'm not sure what's going on here. It's chattering way too much. Maybe I'm trying to take off too little. Let me come back this way. All right, is it better? I like that a little better. All right. All right, now it's time to kind of get a more rounding feel here. Huh. All right, I'm sorry, I'm not much of a chatterbox today. I don't know, I just don't have one of those days. I just kind of feel like just working. I gotta watch what I'm doing here, though. I need to cut all this chunk off before I do much more up here. I have a feeling I got a lot more meat there, and I'm babying it too much, babying it way too much. I hope that's the case. Yeah, I got a lot more meat. Not really there, and that's where I need the meat, man. That's not cool. Woo, doggy, that's gonna be spooky. Right here, guys, it's gonna be spooky. I got a little thin right here. There's not much to work with, but I gotta do it. Worst thing that happens is it falls apart and I start over. I gotta sharpen this thing. I'm gonna pause. All right, we're back. We'll see if I can survive this bowl or not. I don't know if it's gonna die first or I am. This has been a heck of a bowl to get started. My first recording on, I'll tell you that. Well, live and learn, right? Oh, beehive here. Ooh. No, we're not. You know, I started working and I forgot to push the on part. Sorry. I tell you what, I am getting really thin. And so you might be able to see a disaster. So you stay tuned. You might watch it come unraveled. But that's what wood turning is, right? We cut it to the edge when you're doing this kind of work. That's what we do. All right, let's see if I can't take a little bit more here. Actually, I'm going to take it from down here. If you're hearing that chatter and the bouncing of the tool, that's because I'm getting out here on this end. I don't like to do that, but I ain't got much of a choice. Whoa, Jeffrey. That's my name, by the way. All right. I got to do a little something different because I'm making a big mistake if I continue. I think I may have already made the mistake. What happens when the bull's getting out of round and I'm having a hard time getting it back and round with small bites. But if I take big bites, I don't have enough wood for big bites. So wood gets out of rounds in no time. I mean, you give it a 30-minute break, it could start taking on moisture, or especially here in Florida where we have a lot of humidity. That's why you're now seeing it from going out of round, in round to out of round so quickly, I think. I'm going to cut down there, but I think I may have rescued this bull. All right, let me check it. Let's see if I was able to rescue it. It's not in the... Still got a little bit more. It's a thin one, right? You want them thin, but I'm not sure you want them this thin. We'll be all right, though. I think we'll be okay. So let me do a little more cutting down here. I cut down here at the bottom. Get that around. Well, it wasn't pretty getting here, but I got it here. Well, I don't like that. Okay, guys, we're getting there. We've got a little bit going on here. I'm going to cut it there. Then when I go to do the bottom, I'll bring you back, okay? Just finished sanding the bowl inside and out. I didn't want to put that on tape too. That's just boring. Everyone knows how to sand. But what I am going to do is kind of show you how I do a finish on it before I do the bottom. I like to finish the most of the bowl, and then we'll finish the bottom when I get it cut. But let me move this once again. I'll avoid moving it too much so you don't get a headache. All right, here's our bowl all sanded and ready for some. I use tried and true. Tried and true is a combination of linseed oil and beeswax. Um, I have found it. I can't find anything better. I've tried everything there is, and there's a lot of good stuff out there to finish. But for the ease of it and the simplicity, and you can do it with just your bare hands because it's very safe, very food safe, and it's if you don't want to change the color of the wood, this works very well, as you can tell. And so you just kind of smear it on and lightly smear it on, not thick, but just lightly smear it on. Come back in about 20, 30 minutes, wipe it off, and if you want to put another coat on, you can if you feel it needs it. Wait a day or two. Um, and thing is, if you 3 months down the road, if you you know, if you feel like it needs another coat or something, you've been using it for actual salads and things, and you want to add to it, you can easily just put another coat on it. Don't have to even hardly sand or nothing. Just put a coat on. And so that's what I like about it. It works very well for wood bowls, especially wood bowls that are going to be used as bowls. You know, a lot of people just take these, they're decorative. You know, they are decorative, and I like them to be decorative, but I also want them to be used. Um, People can use these bowls, and you know, common sense will tell you that you don't put them in a microwave. I'm sorry. Well, you don't put them in a microwave either, but you don't put them in a dishwasher. You just hand wash them, dry them. You don't soak them in water. That would make the wood swell too much. Just wash them and then dry them, and then they're ready for the next use. So that's all I did. Just wiped it on. Of course, my hands. Thing is, my hands are, um, you know, safe. It's not going to hurt me. I'm just going to wipe my hands off with a rag. Um, and actually, my hands feel pretty good afterwards. It's a good treatment for my hands. So I just want to. All right, now for the final step is to remove the tenon from the bottom. I have these coins. I'll put a coin on the bottom. Maybe put a design in the bottom or something. You know, I don't know. The bowl come out pretty nice. Um, I think I got lucky with this one. It got really thin in one spot. It stayed together. So let me get this going. All right. So that looks good. All right. This piece here is a piece of maple that I glued on to this piece of maple. I recut these off. I cut them off and I reuse them for different bowls until they eventually, I think I can get one more use out of it. So I'll just try to cut it off with a parting tool. And from there, actually it feels like I got to sharpen this parting tool. Give me 1 minute. Oh yeah, that should do it. I've been thinking about taking this parting tool and putting a longer handle on it. I don't like that short handle, but anyway, it's oh, I wanted to tell you one thing. What I like to do at this point is use this Cole's jaws, it's called. Turn around, hold it on, and to do the final part. There is other ways to do it, but this, for me, this is pretty much the safest way. It holds on to the bowl really well, especially when I put this type of lip on the top. It hooks on there really nice. So anyway, let's get this going. Whoop, 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 I'm in reverse. There we go. Well, the Cool's jaw, you don't want to get much faster than about 650 or 700, really. Because if it comes off, it's going to be not fun. At this point, I kind of wish I had a longer handle, you know? All right, but a little bit more to go. I think I'll just take the saw to it. Ooh, that's feeling pretty hot. I think I'll take a saw to it now. All right, this is much. Get my saw. Now, the safest way to do that, it got this little Japanese saw thing. I really like that. I got on sale. I try to buy everything on sale. Alrighty. This does a pull cut. There we go. That's that. Alright. There we go. Now that can be used for another day, another bowl. Might get one more bowl out of it, maybe even two. We'll see. Alrighty. I'll get this tailstock out of my way. I don't need it anymore. Guys, here's the finished product. Waiting to see, I reckon. And I'll quickly just flip it over. Kind of see the bottom, how I did the bottom. So until next time.